G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And in today's video we're going to be hopping on Tier Maker. Now, last night I was going to make a Tier Maker for ranking each AFL trade for 2021. However, I didn't get around to doing it. I was a bit busy with a few things. However, Cardman22 has done a video and has created a Tier Maker as well. So I'm going to leave credit to Cardi. Go check out his video, go check out this tier maker that he created that I'm going to be using for today's video. So thanks to Cardi for creating this tier maker for me, as I wasn't really able to do it last night. Basically today we're going to be ranking every 2021 AFL trade that has happened over the past maybe week, 2 weeks. So we'll hop straight on tier maker and we'll get straight into it. So here we are on the tier maker. The ranks we have today are top notch trade, good trade, decent, poor, and then straight up shocking. We'll start off, let's go Peter Ladhams to Sydney. Here he is. A bit of an unexpected trade, this one. We didn't really see it happening, but Peter Ladhams obviously went to Sydney, and Port receives a first round pick and a future third round selection. I don't think he hasn't been too outstanding over the past year and a bit. I'm gonna put it in I reckon it's, I'd hate to put it in the poor tier, but I think it might be a bit of a poor trade. Possibly decent could be an alright place to put it. Obviously, over the past few years, he has been a bit of an important encounter for the Port Adelaide list, so I'm going to put him in decent, and we'll see what he can bring to the Swans. I don't think he'll bring too much, but we'll just have to wait and see how he performs for his new club. Adam Cerra, obviously, have to put him in top notch. This is really heartbreaking as a Freo fan, but we did see this coming from a mile away. Carlton receives Adam Cerra. Freo receives a first round pick and a future third round selection as well. So, Adam Cerra in his new colours, he doesn't look too bad. The Blues fans will be happy about this. And also, one of the first things I've ever put in the top tier, something that is related to Carlton, so the Blues fans will be happy out there. So with the Coleman Jones trade, obviously he used to play for Richmond. I'm going to put this in poor because a lot of these players I haven't even really heard of, apart from just now in this trade period. So I'm going to put this in poor just because, a lot of trades, when you think about it, like, they're not poor trades, but they're just poor players that, like, I don't think will have much of an impact on the team that they're going to. So Richmond receives Robbie Tarrant, a third round pick and a future second round selection. North Melbourne receive Callum Coleman Jones, 2 third round picks and a future fourth round selection. So as Robbie Tarrant is also in this little bit of selection, Robbie Tarrant, he's been a bit of an icon over the past I'd say 5-6 years. He's been through a lot for North. I'm going to put it in decent, although I don't think Robbie Tarrant will do much to the Tigers list. I'm still going to put him in decent, mainly just the fact is because he's had a decent career over at North Melbourne, so maybe we'll just have to wait and see what he does for North. I don't think he'll bring too much to their list, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have Darcy Fort to Brisbane, the former Cat. I've never seen Darcy Fort play a game before, and when this trade got done, I'm like, who's Darcy Fort? Never even heard of him. Every player that I don't know existed, I'm going to put in the shocking tier. Darcy Fort, I'm going to put him in shocking just because I've never seen him play a game. I've never seen how he plays. I've never seen a lot of Darcy Fort, only from a few days ago when he got traded to Brisbane. Brisbane received Darcy Fort and a future third round pick, and Geelong receives a third round pick and a future third round selection as well. George Hewitt, the Blues fans would be happy with this. There's a bit of a tackling machine over at Sydney, and I think he's actually going to bring a fair bit to the Blues. Him and Cerra, the Blues have had a decent trade period. They have collected a few guns, I guess, underrated guns. I would either put it top of decent. Yeah, we're going to put George Hewitt in good. I think it is a good trade. He'll make a bit of an impact to the Carlton list. And who knows, Carlton, I was about to say Carlton could be making finals, but I still don't think that's going to happen. Next up, we're going to do John Segler to the Cats. Now, he has had a decent career over at the Hawks. The Cats, it's actually a bit of a big inclusion. Now, I haven't seen much of John Segler over the past year and a bit, but I do know from back around 3-4 years ago, he was actually not too bad for the Hawks. I could probably put it in decent because this could actually be an alright improvement to the Cats list. It's just, I'm not sure how many years he'll go on for, John Ziegler, because he has had a big career at Hawthorn. I don't know how many more years he's thinking of going at the Cats. Next up is Nathan Kruger to Collingwood. Collingwood receives Nathan Kruger and a 3rd round pick, and Geelong receives a 3rd round pick as well. So Nathan Kruger, I'm gonna put it in shocking, because once again, I never heard of Nathan Kruger until he got traded. So I'm gonna put it in shocking, because every player that I don't know is going to go straight into the shocking tier. Seems though I don't even know who they are. They don't deserve to go anywhere in the top 4 tiers, because I've never even heard of their names before. Will Brodie, I've heard of him a few times. Well, it's a good inclusion to the Dockers. Seems as though we've been a bit average over the past few years. I think decent is a bit too high, maybe. I'm not sure. He's a big guy. I'm going to put him top end of poor, but it's not a poor trade. I probably should have changed that tier name to something else. Jake Kelly now for the Bombers. I'm going to put in maybe decent. I don't know how much he will bring to the Bombers though. I don't think he'll bring a lot, but I think he will bring just a little bit that the Bombers need to get kicking into finals gear and hopefully win a few finals games next year as well. Next up, we have Jeremy Finlayson to Port Adelaide now. The big man from GWS. I'm going to put this top end of good. If not, well, probably not top notch. I wouldn't say he's as good as Chera in this instinct for the tier maker. But I'm going to put him top end of good, because Jeremy Finlayson for the past few years has been a brilliant player for GWS, and for Port to pick them up, I think this is actually going to be a pretty important inclusion. And I reckon he's going to have a brilliant season over at Port Adelaide. I'm not sure if he really fits in at Port, but we'll have to wait and see. He should have a decent rest of career at Port Adelaide, but we'll wait and see how he does there. Jordan Clark, I'm going to put another one in good, if not top end of good. I reckon I'll put him there in the middle of the good tier. So Jordan Clark only just happened in the last half an hour of the trade period, which is really good for the Dockers, because we really needed him. He left it bloody late, that's for sure. I wasn't sure if we were going to get him, and then I went on my Instagram and saw first thing that popped up, Clark traded to Freo, which is really good to see. We'll move on now. Jordan Dawson coming to Adelaide. Jordan Dawson, I haven't heard much of him. I'm going to put it lower end of poor, just because haven't seen him play much footy. Not sure, he won't have that much of an impact to the Crows. Although I'm saying this all now about not having much impact to these teams, they could have a big impact, but in my opinion, I don't think they'll do much. Sam Petreski-Seton, I'm going to put in a decent trade. I think I'm going to top end of decent, because Sam Petreski-Seton, he's had a decent career at Carlton. He hasn't been getting that much consistency for games and inclusion over the past maybe year and a bit, but Sam Petreski-Seton, he should have a decent few years at the Eagles. Not sure. I think he will fit into the list, but I'm not sure if he will still get many games at the Eagles, but we'll just have to wait and see for now. Next up, we have Tim O'Brien. Now, this is a big inclusion. I could possibly see him being up in top notch. I would say he's a better player than Finlayson, almost. But this, you know what, just because we only have Adam Chera in top notch so far, I'm going to put Tim O'Brien in top notch. It could be a bit of a crazy thing to say, but Tim O'Brien has had a decent past few years, nearly took Mark of the Year this year, and he's been really strong in the Hawks lineup. And for him to come into the Dogs lineup, they have needed a bit of a tall forward, apart from Timmy English and Aaron Norton. They are going to be absolutely stacked in their forward line coming into next year. With Tim O'Brien, huge inclusion. We're going to put him up in top notch as well. Patrick Lipinski coming from the Dogs to the Pies. He really wanted to request a trade to the Pies, and he did get in. Now, this isn't too bad. Lipinski had some decent games for the Dogs. I think it's a bigger trade than George Hewitt, in my opinion. The most important trades were these ones up in the top notch and the good tier. Everything else has been a bit average, not going to lie. I'm going to put him, I reckon, third in the good tier, because it is going to be a pretty important trade, especially with the Pies in their rebuilding stage. We'll have to wait and see how he does there. Mabior Chol, he's had a bit of an off period, I guess you could say, over the past year and a bit. I reckon bottom end of decent. An inclusion to the Suns is probably what they need, to be honest. Obviously, they've got Jared Witts, but they need this fast, quick ruckman that can play in their forward and also in the ruck. So, Mabior Chol could be actually a decent inclusion. I'm going to put him in front of these two, I would say. I'm going to put him there, I reckon. So, we've got 3 more. Luke Dunstan. I'm going to put... He's had a decent career at the Saints. I'm going to put him... probably in front of Robbie Tarrant like this. I reckon I'm going to do that. Not as good as Peter Laddams, I would say, because he is getting a bit older, but once he was in his prime, he was a pretty good player, and we were looking out for him. But decent, I'm going to put him there. We've got a lot in the decent tier, but I reckon that is exactly where they deserve to go. Lewis Young to Carlton. Now, obviously, he was from the Western Bulldogs, Lewis Young, and he had a pretty big impact, actually, for the past maybe 10 games for the season. I'm going to put that. Now, this is an underrated trade. Carlton are going to love him in the back line. I went to North Melbourne versus the Dogs when the Dogs won by about 27 points. He was outstanding in the back line for the Dogs, and this is going to make a big inclusion, I reckon, to the Blues list. Now, final trade that we'll be going through today is going to be Max Lynch. Now, obviously, he was from the Pies. I haven't seen any of him. I have not seen a bit of him. So I'm going to put him in the shocking tier just because I haven't seen him play. There's the end of this list. Now, obviously, I'm not the best with getting the trade period around my head, so I'm a bit off with a few things, and especially in this video with the trades. A lot of people will disagree because a lot of these trades I think will be a bit iffy for some people. But if you did enjoy and like this content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. There'll be a Guernsey video out soon, and I'll see you all in my next video.